Good day, Hollywood Times viewers. Joining us today is country, rock, and Americana singer, songwriter, Andrew Farriss. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
I'm really good, Judy. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous. It's nice and sunny in downtown LA. Where are you dialing in from?
Well, if you look behind me, it looks like I'm back home in Australia, but I'm actually talking to you from Nashville, and I just got this backdrop. This is really virtually exactly where it looks like out where I live. And I don't live on Australia's beautiful coastline or in our nice big cities. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I guess you call it the outback, and I like it out here or out there. But yeah, and that's pretty much where I'm talking to you from is Nashville. Though it's been hot here, very hot.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because do you live in Australia all the time, full time?
Yeah, that's right. And the main reason is because my family and I live out on a farm that I've owned for about 30 years. And people out around the area where I live, they wear cowboy hats, and baseball caps or hats in general, because they're farming people. Most of the people are farming people. Yeah.
Do they have a term for the hat that you're wearing, which I really like, by the way?
Thanks. No, I think you guys call it a 10-gallon hat.
Okay.
You can feed your horse with it, like this, But I like my hat. Yeah, it keeps the sun off my face, and but I like the look of it as well. And yeah, and it's kind of well, this is my album that I've got out, and I hope it comes across okay, because this weird technology thing. But
I know, right? It doesn't come in. It's like, oh, it tipped you away. You can't really.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, I'm trying to show you this in. It won't work. But
it doesn't work. That's your what do they call that? Self-titled album,
yeah,
right?
correct. Sorry. My album's self-titled, and it's called Andrew Farriss, because I got no imagination. I was trying a long time to think of a name. I just couldn't think of one, but that's because it's actually the first solo album I've ever made. And well, album in itself is an old-fashioned thing, but I wanted to do vinyl and for my album, as well as CDs, but it's digitally available. And if people want to download stuff, they can go to iTunes or Amazon, and or I should say, sorry, the normal digital downloading places that you
Spotify and all those things, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's really great to see that you have an album. I'm an album collector, so I look forward to getting one of those albums.
Well, this is the vinyl on my album.
Oh yes, it's vinyl. Oh my, it's beautiful. Now
yeah,
we can see it.
Yeah,
oh, and that's awesome.
That's the other side of it there.
Okay. Oh, I definitely want one of those.
Yeah, that's right. That was designed as part of my of the vinyl I wanted. It was because it represents the songs. The vinyl artwork was chosen from the lyrics and the stylization of my music on the album. So that's what that was all about. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It's going to be a top seller, that's for sure. It's got some amazing songs on there. And today we're talking about your new release, You Are My Rock, which actually debuted on CMT television along with the new video.
Right. Yeah. And the video that was shot actually out where you can see behind me. And that video was shot not very far from where you can see right now. It wasn't actually that tree in the video, but it was one of those back there behind me that was behind us in that video. So yeah.
I have to ask a question watching that video, because was the fire real or CGI?
No, that was real, and there was a fire marshal there, and yeah, and I do like trees, by the way. I love trees, and I like the environment, and yeah, it's an important thing to me. And actually, we'd come out of the tree was already dead; had been hit by lightning. But the other part of it is right, and so as a farmer, you've got to be careful. You got to clean up things that are dangerous, and having a big tall tree that's dead is not always a good thing, when you got livestock and people working and that kind of thing, but the main thing is that, the video itself is just us, playing the song and having a good time. And the people in the video, they play with my live band as well that I play with down in Australia, and I miss them, and I'm going to head back down there and play some more in Australia. I got some shows here I'm doing in the US. I've been playing like a show called Song of the Mountains That was in Marion, Virginia, a beautiful old theater. That was great fun. We did that in the Appalachian music community of bluegrass and country and folk. And they're not far from Bristol, actually. They have a museum there for country music. But then we're also heading down to Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, where we're doing a similar show called Wood Songs on the 22nd of August, and then another show called Red Barn Radio. But anyway, and I've been playing shows around Nashville as well. Yeah.
Well, welcome to America, and I wish we were closer so we could see you.
Well, I'll have to, where are you exactly? You in Los Angeles? Where are you?
California, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get you out here one day when you're back visiting, when your album is like that gold platinum record,
Sure, maybe I'll just come anyway.
Yeah. We'll definitely show you around town.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, who are the 5 musicians on the video? We always have to do a shout out to your musician because they make the music. So who were they?
That's right. Well, actually, in the video is a legend in the Tamworth music community. His name's Laurie Minson. And he's, all these people are friends of mine as well. And Laurie plays just about everything. In that video you're watching there, he's playing guitar, but he also plays pedal steel and harmonica. He plays dobro, guitars, he plays about everything and sings. There's also Ashley Leaf. She's singing and playing the tambourine in the video. She's an awesome singer. She comes from a musical background. And she's a friend of my family's and a friend of mine, awesome singer and a wonderful person. They all are good people. Mitch Farmer is the drummer. He's playing there. His name is Mitch Farmer, great guy. And also Travis New is on the guitar, playing that lead solo as well, that you can see there. And Travis is over here and actually in Nashville with me right now. He's been playing with me as well. And there's also Trevor playing with us on the bass as well. But he's wearing a big dark cowboy hat on one side of where it is. That's Trev. And again, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. And anyway, I miss all of those guys except Travis is here with me now. So,
well, at least you have one of your buddies with you. Tell us about the creative process and how you came up with the concept of, that video.
Right. Well, it was pretty much an idea where the video director, Duncan Toombs, and myself and my wife, Marlena, who's involved in a lot of what we do artistically, including, with videos and filming and all that. We wanted to have a setting where it's so dynamic. And the song, You Are My Rock, is really about just saying thank you to the people in your life who help you to do things. No one gets through life without help from other people, and that's what the song's all about. And so we want it to just be sort of a celebration. If we look happy in the video, we're not excusing ourselves. We genuinely we're enjoying ourselves. And it was a sort of a perfect night. It wasn't too windy, and we just the idea with the video is kind of just explosive was the idea, and we wanted to have that backdrop of that setting, and and we only had a short time to do it. Let's do it quick,
Is that because the weather can change there drastically?
Well, no, no, that was because there was a big fire in the tree behind us burning. So, like little things like that. So we didn't know like how long it was going to take. It might have gone boom, and then that's it.
I know.
Right? So we just thought, well, we better get on with this. So we were doing it, and then, but as it got cooler, and the dew started coming in and settle on the grass and everything, and which is good also because it, that helps calm the farm with the look of it and the fire control of it. But it was we actually wanted to get closer to the tree because it was nice and warm. But I heard an expression once that said that the reason that firewood looks so beautiful when it's burning is because the tree was beautiful.
It was an amazing shot. I mean, you should get an Emmy for that video or whatever they'll give for that. It was really done well. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
It was really cool. So let's see what else we have going on. I also read that the new album that you have out said that it was inspired by you and your wife, Marlena, horseback riding and camping throughout the outback, and then also here in southwestern United States. For reals? Horseback riding?
Sure. What happened? Actually, what happened? That's true. Out behind us is out the kind of the area that we live in, and you know, I have cattle and grains when it rains. You know, so no rain, no grain. You know, and I've lived through, you know, some serious times in the 30 years I've had the farm, and I have a lot of empathy for people who live out in regional areas or outback, or you know, and same with Southwest of your beautiful country in the United States. And I actually happened to be songwriting back way when this little adventure started, and I was songwriting, and then we decided to go on a holiday and took an adventure, a horse riding adventure, down along the Mexican border, right in the corner of Arizona and New Mexico, and on the Mexican border. And we went horse riding 6 hours a day, 6 days straight. And the idea was I just wanted to get an education on that area, because, you know, I suppose for many people, they look at the Old West these days as kind of like a Hollywood film or something, you know. And I really wanted to look at it in real time on a horseback and get the feeling of what that really felt like in that era before electricity and all that kind of stuff. And so we did that. Marlene and I went down to this ranch that was owned by an amazing wrangler by the name of Craig Lawson and his wife Tamara. And they took us, Marlene and I, the four of us went riding all through this national monument areas down there near the Chiricahua Mountains and the area through there. And I got a, you know, education on horseback over a period of about 6 days to begin with, you know, where I rode through Apache Pass. You know, I know where Geronimo surrendered, and I learned about the history of the US cavalry in that area, abandoned forts like Fort Bowie and Fort Rucker, and Cochise's stronghold. The four of us rode our horses right up the top there, and you could see where, you know, the US cavalry would come out of Fort Bowie, and they'd kick up so much dust that Cochise could tell where they were, you know, when they were coming, so he was able to escape or outsmart them, you know. And all that kind of stuff. When I came back to Nashville and someone said to me, what do you want to write songs about? I was like, I want to write a song about the Old West. And they're like, oh, they're probably thinking, we wanted to have a big hit, you know, like you really want to write about the Old West? And I'm like, yeah, man, I really do, you know, like because my mind was on fire, you know, like because you had Tombstone up the road with the Outlaws and the Cowboys, and, you know, from that era, of course, and then you had, you know, the settlers and the pioneers and, you know, First Nations and the Mexican Army and all this tumultuous history. And I thought, as a songwriter, it's brilliant. And that's where I based a lot of the beginnings of my album, was thinking about that, and the parallels with Australia too, because Australia had that same thing with, you know, we call them bush rangers, but the same sort of thing with outlaws and people riding around out like behind me, you know, doing crazy stuff. That all went on here too, you know, and there.
Well, God bless you for coming to the United States and looking up our history, which probably most of us don't even know about. Sad.
Well, you know, you should see it before it's gone.
Exactly. And I love horseback riding, so I might have to look into that.
Yeah, you know, because I think we are all connected, you know, whether we realize it or not, to the land, and it has an effect on us. And we have a, you know, tendency in our modern world to just concrete everything. And but I think it's important that we keep these connections with, because where we come from is where we're going, you know.
Exactly. I mean, just like your song, you know, You Are My Rock, it's perfect timing for what we're all going through in our lives and stuff. And it's teaching us to help others, you know, which we should do. It's no big deal to like lend a hand and help someone out that needs it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, exactly, you know, that's right. And you know, that was a saying that my father had, you know, no one gets through life without help from other people. From the moment you're born to the moment you pass away, as always, someone's got to help you do something, you know.
Yeah.
And you can have everyone running around doing as they're told, and they can all work for you, but you know, it doesn't change the human part of it, you know. It remains, you know?
Exactly. I wanted to know, how did you discover your passion for music?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I guess I learned to play piano when I was 9 years of age, and my older brother, Tim Farriss, and my younger brother, John Farriss, all began to, learn instruments around the same time. And, later on we connected with Michael Hutchence and Gary Beers and Kirk Pengilly, and we ended up having a band called INXS, and we went on this incredible adventure together. We worked in over 50 countries. We sold a lot of records. We played in some of the smallest stages in the world, and we played on some of the biggest stages in the world, and we worked in over 50 countries. And I regret none of it. I love that band. I love INXS. I love the music. And I think my journey musically and as a songwriter, mainly as a songwriter, it was a lot of my journey with the band. I always felt like I was, supposed to be writing a soundtrack for a living movie, is the best way I can describe it in my life. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it was not right. Yeah, it wasn't fake. It was all very real. And I was writing this soundtrack at the time for whatever we were doing, with a lot with Michael when he was alive. And the two of us, we wrote a lot of songs together. I think we must have written over 300 songs together. And I celebrate, I still like to go out and play those songs that we wrote together, because I'm proud of him and I miss him. And he was a brilliant man. He was very, very clever.
Wow, that's a touching story. So was one of your biggest influences of your career? Do you have others?
Yeah, I mean, sure. And then I also had influences that started before that, where the first band I ever saw was the Beatles, and my dad was in the Royal Navy at the end of World War II. And then he took us as little kids, my brothers and I, before our younger sister was born. And we went by ship in 1964, because back then you didn't fly everywhere, unless I guess you're in the military or something. And so we went by ship, which was 3 weeks from Australia up to London by ship. I've never been so seasick in my life. Anyway, when we got there, someone said, look, you should come to this variety show. And to my dad, obviously not to me, and mum and dad when they were alive back then. And so they did. They took us kids to this television show, and out walked the Beatles. And I said, I had no idea that we were going to see something like that and hear it. But the interesting thing is, obviously, an incredible band, but we didn't realize, being little kids, how important they really were. And we thought, yeah, this is all pretty exciting. And as I looked around, I thought the most interesting thing was the television cameras that were moving back and forward like big pterodactyls. To me, that was really, I thought that was really amazing. The technology of that. Does all that, what you guys do, and with film and television. I thought that was extraordinary. I remember thinking about it as a little kid, but it really impacted us, obviously, in our career later on. I'm sure it affected us, and we would pretend to play in a band with tennis rackets and things, whatever. And then we're old enough to, actually play together. We did. And, but yeah, I think that was definitely an impact. But I thank my mother too, God bless you, because she got me into playing piano. She encouraged me. I actually didn't want to play piano. I got kind of sick of it. I wanted to go play football and and do things like that, and hang out with people. And socially, musically, I didn't realize how social music can get, when I was younger.
And then how old are you when you started playing the guitar?
Well, I used to sneak into my brother Tim's room and pick up his guitar, and he didn't know, otherwise I think he would have got kind of cranky with me. And so he and I used to just sort of teach myself, but he was classically taught how to play the guitar. I still don't know where all the notes are on the guitar frets. I just make stuff up and hope it sounds okay. No, seriously, I don't know. I just think that sounds okay, and I'll play that, I don't know.
That's a good one. Thank you for being honest.
Well, yeah, it's true. But I do know a bit more about the piano,
So would you play piano on any of your songs that you've recorded?
Yeah, I'm playing piano on some of that stuff. And, I'm thinking to myself that, I want to play a lot more piano, actually, and keys and things. But I tried really hard on these recordings on my self-titled album, Andrew Farriss. I tried really hard to not go to my comfort zone with a lot of the instruments. I deliberately chose instruments that I wasn't very familiar with, like fiddles and mandolins and banjos and instruments that I have really no expertise in that area. And I love them. I've always loved the recordings in country music and bluegrass, and I pay respect to all those people in folk music, but I've never really gotten into them. Over the years, when I first started and electronics became more sophisticated, I got into things like drum machines and synthesizers and all the technology, sampling and all that stuff. But that's all old-fashioned now to me. I actually think, I was using that stuff years ago. I actually think it's far more interesting as a musician to play with physical instruments and to create the same sort of stylization by using old-fashioned instruments. To me is really intriguing at this time in my life.
Yeah, that's why I missed during COVID the live, going to live concerts, because you've got your singer and you've got your drummer, your bass player, electric, all that stuff, and especially bluegrass. I love the mandolin, I love banjo. So I hope that never goes away in my lifetime, please.
Yeah, I'm same. I mean, like, look, there's something very primitive, and it's in our DNA, all of us, to hear live music played by live musicians in real time. I don't think there is anything better. And I heard one person say once, I wish I could remember who it was. They said that when you listen to recordings by anybody of any kind of music, the sad part is it is a recording. Because when you play something live and it's really live, it's never exactly the same again. It's always slightly different, even though it's the same people, right? Playing the same music, and they've tried to play exactly the same. It's never exactly the same. It's always slightly different. And that's more of a natural thing,
Yeah, because I like a certain person like George Strait, and I've been to like 20 concerts or more. And they're like, why do you go to so many? Because I love him, and they're always so different. Even though it's the same song, you've got a CD of it, it's not the same as live. And he might sing it a little different or move a little different, because there's my favorite artist,
That's right. Well, it's the human connection of it. And I think that you're exactly right. That's the part I still love about performing live. And I mean, in the old days when I was touring so much with INXS, I think, I used to, complain sometimes because we'd be on a 14-month or 18-month tour, but I wasn't complaining so much about playing live. I was complaining more because as a songwriter and as a recording artist, I wanted to, stop playing live so I could go back and record and write, you know what I mean, in the studio, or spend time with friends and family, relaxing even, please, but that was more like that. But now, I'm finding I'm really enjoying playing live again, and in venues where I haven't played before either. It's been really interesting. It's good.
Yeah. How was COVID for you guys over there? What did you do, you and your wife, do that during that time?
Well, probably like everyone else, we put on masks and things like that. And I would visit friends and family in the cities and, suburbs and whatever. But we were very fortunate, which we didn't choose that because of the pandemic, but to live in a place like that behind me, to live out away from, civilization a bit more, we realized how really fortunate we were. And the irony of that is most people who live in the cities and suburbs before the pandemic would never really want to come out here, because you know what I mean? Like, why would we want to go out there? There's nothing there. And I'm like, that's exactly why you should go out there, right? Because there isn't anything there, and that's part of my journey in life, not just with the pandemic or, in entertainment. A lot of my journey has been about, appreciating nature for what it is while it's still there. And I love nature. I respect it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's beautiful there. And like with me, COVID, it was like living in the city, driving to the city or taking the train. I started hiking like in the mountains and seeing amazing, I learned to hike and appreciate and see nature. So it's like, yay. That's what I did.
Well, that's right. That's right. And, okay, I have, by the way, I lived a lot of my life, the earlier part of my life, living out of a suitcase and one concrete box to the other, highways, different speeds and different mechanical, inventions, whatever they were, and I learned, that's where I learned I really yearned to live and experience the outdoors, like you were saying, because, the natural world is really what we're part of. We like to think of ourselves as all being about technology and everything, but really we're part of the natural world.
That's true. So how about social media? Do you use that? How can our viewers find you on social media?
Well, again, on andrewfarriss.com.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to try to get this right. I think it's Andrew_Farriss. I think that's Instagram, I think. But
We'll look it up.
Yeah. If you ask me how to drive a tractor, that I can talk about.
Sounds good. We will put your social media up for you. And folks, he has 12 amazing singles on his new album, which you can get today, order it. And he's got that amazing vinyl. And so we'll put all that up so that you guys, all of our viewers, can get that new music of yours. It's pretty darn amazing. Pretty darn amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of your 12 songs, was there one that you wrote right away and one that took you forever?
That's a good question. I would say the one that probably took me forever was probably one of, I guess there's a couple of them, but one of them was Come Midnight. It wasn't so much took me forever to write the song, it took me forever to record it the way it got recorded. Okay. I think one of the other ones was Where Do You Sleep Tonight? Those two tracks but they took a long time to sort of come together, if you like, to be on the record. But two of the ones that I wrote really quickly towards the end of recording the album were My Cajun Girl, because I love the town of New Orleans. I love that culture, I love the food, I love the music. And it's just a great melting pot of so many different incredible fusions of music that creates that powerful thing. The other one was Son of a Gun. And again, that was sort of born out of all that horse riding stuff and the Old West I was talking about before. There's a guy who thinks he can solve all of his problems, and he'll just run around, be an outlaw and do crazy stuff, and it doesn't have a good ending for him,
Oh my gosh. And Apache Pass, did that come from your writing too?
Yeah, yes, it did. And that's right. And that was, I co-wrote that song with Frank Myers. And I really, applaud Frank, because when I said I wanted to write that song and about the area that we're writing in Southwestern United States, he got it immediately. And he being a songwriter of high caliber himself, having a hit history in country music, he got it immediately. He said, yeah, let's do this. I love this. So, thank you, Frank. If you ever hear this, see me on. Thanks, man. Yeah.
And also, I have to talk about Run, Baby Run. That was a great video. I love trains, the costumes, the characters were awesome.
Yeah, well, that was actually my wife Marlena's sort of idea of having that video the way it is, and it's basically this girl sort of being captured by this really bad evil guy, and and then she escapes and she runs through a real train. There's not that much CGI in that footage, by the way, in that video. Most of that's real, so that was interesting. Let's put it that way. But yeah, a lot of the footage that you're watching is because the steam train. I was on my way to play a big, large outdoor country music festival back in 2019 called the Gympie Muster down, that's the name of it, down in Queensland in Australia. And on the way there, the steam train pulled in. We'd stopped to have a coffee or whatever. And I looked at the train and went, now that would be something great to have in a video. And, Marlena had talked about it, and we talked about it and thought, yeah, and that's what the video is all about, is that. And I tried to ride up right next to the steam train on a horse, because that's me right at the end of the video riding along there. And I wanted to have Caitlin Shadbolt, I think that's the girl, she's a country artist in her own right. I wanted her to jump off the steam train and get on a horse with me. But I think the people who in this era we live in now were like, I don't think that's a good idea. They're sort of like, and the other thing I wanted to do was ride along an embankment above the steam train and jump off the horse onto the roof of the carriage and then run along, the roofs of the carriages. And they're like, no, Andrew, you're not going to do that. And I said, but I think that'd be fun. I like to jump off the horse and run along and then run up the front of the steam train. and they're all like really nervous, you know, but I'm, you know, but why not? I mean, you know,
Yeah. I just definitely want to put that video up for our viewers to see. Was really done. It's really amazing, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Run Baby Run, the video in particular, is mind-boggling. You know, and Duncan Toombs was the video director of both Run Baby Run and You Are My Rock. And Duncan was the, yeah, in fact, he's done all of our videos, come think of it, so far. Yeah, and
Good job.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, works, you know. And you know, Dunk, I hope you're well, man. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, clever guy.
Well, do you have any parting words for us?
Yeah, spend time with people, you know, that you care about, and you know, tell them you love them, and just you know, eat well and look after yourself and your health, and it's the best thing you got. And don't jump off a horse onto a moving train. Okay.
Oh man, I want to try it.
Come on, I mean, you know. Yeah.
Oh, we do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know you've been a busy tour here in the US, and congratulations on the new album and all the great, amazing hits to come from this day forward.
Thank you for having me on board, Judy, and happy trails.
Thank you.